plain by the side of a lake offers no shelter from the wind. Before the two groups of French soldiers were facing each other, the weather is the last thing on their minds. They are, for the most part, army veterans of long standing, and they know all too well of the horrors of the battlefield. Know all too well that within minutes they could be dead or screaming in agony from ghastly wounds. On one side stand 800 members of France's 5th Infantry Regiment, who owe obedience to His Majesty, Louis the 18th of the House of Bourbon, King of France and Navarre. On the other hand are a slightly large number of men, dirty, tired, and hungry, who have spent the past week marching more than 200 miles north from the Mediterranean coast, and who have seemingly absurd ambition of making it all the way to Paris and seizing control of the country. Their chances of succeed would appear minimal. No reason to risk all that dying in the picturesque but otherwise forgettable spot. But they have one enormous advantage. He is in their midst, wearing an old gray army jacket of average height with thinning hair and a pronounced paunch, speaking French with a thick Corsican accent. He is the man of all the men in the field from both sides had once sworn to die for. Napoleon Bonaparte. Let's go. It has been the better part of a year since Napoleon fell from power, but the French and Europeans more generally are having a hard time forgetting him. He is, after all, the man who, born in obscurity, acquired the greatest military reputation of any European military commander in centuries while still in his 20s. Let's hear this. At 30, he ruled France, and at 40, he dominated Europe as no individual had since Charlemagne. Perhaps indeed, since the Caesars. Are you fucking kidding me? The wars he fought had changed the map of Europe forever and left millions of its inhabitants in early graves. But his fall had been as spectacular and swift as his rise, and his 41st birthday in August 1914 saw him in exile on the tiny Italian island of Elba, and replaced in Paris by the Bourbon dynasty that the French Revolution had toppled more than 20 years before. And then on February 26, Napoleon and his followers escaped from Elba by boat, landing 3 days later on the French coast near Cannes. They have marched north peacefully, despite the protest of some local officials. But now, in Lafay, they are facing a battalion of King Louis's army, backed by thousands more soldiers close by in the city of Grenoble. It seems as if their adventure may quickly come to a blood-soaked end. As the armies face each other indecisively, the Royalist battalion commander steps forward. "If you do not withdraw," he shouts hesitantly to Napoleon, "you will be arrested." On both sides, hands nervously clutch loaded muskets. But then Napoleon orders his own men to lower their weapons. An aide protests, but he insists. He steps forward out in the soldier of his own troops to within 20 feet of the Royalist regiment. "Soldiers of the 5th, he cries out to them, "I am your emperor. Acknowledge me." He walks a few more steps and in a dramatic gesture opens his coat, exposing his chest as a target. "If there is any soldier among you who wants to kill his emperor," he continues, his voice firm, "here I am." For a moment there's silence. Then somewhere in the Royalist lines, a voice can be heard ordering men to open fire. But no one does. The line stands fearful, indecisive, And then a different cry is heard. Vive l'Empereur! Long live the Emperor!
Long live the Emperor!
A single voice at first, but immediately repeated by the others. Vive l'Empereur! Is that even how you pronounce it? I don't know. In a moment, the entire royalist battalion is shouting the words, and as they do, they throw down their weapons, surrounded Napoleon joyously, and rush to embrace the men who have come with him from Elba. Hardened soldier burst into tears as they clasp each other, screaming deliriously, "Vive l'Empereur!" As the clamor subsides, Napoleon smiles contentedly at his small army, which has just doubled in size. He prepares to move onward further north. Look at the picture. So here is the royalist army battalion that owes obedience to the newest king of France, and this is Napoleon when he got exiled in Elba, and he returned with his army back to France to seize the country. And you know what he did? Look at the royalist battalion just coming up to Napoleon while he stands on his feet, proud, screaming, "Long live the Emperor!"
Long live the Emperor!
Goddamn,
Let's
Napoleon.
go! Uswa Humble 2025.
I love you, Napoleon.
Closing.
Jadi itu aja dari aku. Mungkin di sini apa yang kita bisa dapat dari cerita Napoleon itu bahwa walaupun kita sudah di-betray sama orang-orang terdekat kita, mereka pasti akan teringat bahwa kita yang pernah di sisi mereka. Kita yang
Rambut lu dibel.
ya, Ale.
Bacot gue lagi galau.